And now from the Gospel according to Matthew, chapter 14, verses 14 to 23. And Jesus went out and saw large crowds, and he had pity for them, and healed their sick. When it was evening, his disciples came to him and said, "This is a lonely place, and it is getting late. Dismiss the people so that the men may go to the villages and buy food for themselves." But he said to them, "It is not necessary for them to go. Give them something to eat." They said to him, "We have nothing here except for 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish." Jesus said to them, "Bring them here to me." And he ordered the people to sit down on the ground, and he took the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fish, and he looked up to heaven and blessed them. And he broke them and gave them to his disciples, and the disciples placed them before the people. So they all ate and were satisfied. And they took up the fragments which were left over, 12 full baskets. And the men who ate were 5,000, not counting the women and children. And immediately he urged his disciples to get into the boat, in advance of them, to the crossing place, while he dismissed the people. And when he had dismissed the people, he went up to the mountain alone to pray. And when the darkness fell, he was still alone. And so ends the reading for this morning. And now Dr. Lyle will give us our lesson sermon for Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you all, as we have a wonderful time coming up here. And I know on Thanksgiving Day at noon we'll do a Thanksgiving meditation here. And I know that you guys will be gone and enjoying Thanksgiving with your family, and that's a terrific thing. That's the way it should be. But we'll be thinking of you and send some prayers your way. At any rate, our lesson today is, as Thanksgiving indicates, it's a day of Thanksgiving. Today is Sunday, of course, and we have a few days left to prepare. And we, of course, have started our preparations by buying certain things, the turkey and things of that nature, and there'll be some preparations of that before we get to the actual cooking of it. We tend to brine the turkey each year. This time we've started that, as we found out it works out quite well. Very, very enjoyable. But with anything, there's preparation, and so with ourselves, as we think of Thanksgiving, we should be thinking of preparing ourselves. And part of the preparation of ourselves is the concept of gratitude or the concept of thanksgiving. Those words have become interchangeable, although in their original state they were not. Gratitude was more of a soul quality that we generated and allowed ourselves to feel a deep sense of joy. One of the things that's happened with the idea of Thanksgiving or thank you in our day and age is that it's become a formality rather than something that's met and meant with sincerity. I fully urge people to mean what they say when they say thank you, and not do it just out of the formality of the situation or because you have something else in mind that you want. Something happened in the past month to my son Matthew, and he goes, as you guys know, he goes over to school over at Valley College, and one young man over there one day was passing by and said good morning to him and said, "Good morning, how are you?" And Matthew responded, "Fine, thank you, how are you?" And the guy stopped him and said, "Wait, did you actually ask me how I am?" He said, "Yeah." And apparently that seems to have dropped off, as people don't care about each other so much anymore. And he said that was the first person that he had spoke to in absolutely ages that actually inquired back how he was. Rather amazing. So what's happened now, is this young man looks Matthew up over at the building all the time and checks on what he's doing and what's going on in his classes and that kind of stuff. They became instant friends merely from the concept or the idea of sincerely asking how another person was. Very interesting. So it used to be a formality to say that in response, but I guess in the younger generation that's no longer there, and so it's now, and which may be a good thing, because now when someone asks, it's meant sincerely and seeking, a answer back as to how that person is. But I was thinking about the situation, and it just seemed to me how interesting it was that, Matthew was thrilled someone asked him, and he inquired back out of a sincere wish or desire to know how the other guy was doing. And out of that, a friendship has come. And that's truly a great reward out of a simple exchange of words, to have a friendship develop. And I certainly am pleased that it's taken place, and it allows me to take note of things that go on within my life and be careful of the things that I say, because there's times I tend to be a little curt, and I guess I can say it's part of my nature, but it's really not. I work to overcome it and to change it and develop into something better. But part of becoming better and part of growing in life is to appreciate all of the things we have and to appreciate the people that we have in our lives. And part of that appreciation is through the expression of gratitude, being grateful for them. In my experience, I have been aware or know of people that seemingly have more than enough for anything that they need. And yet their attitude in life is that there's not enough, and that life is difficult, and they're always seeking more, and nothing ever lives up to their promise, and that they're very disappointed in people and their reactions and with the world and how it's going, and nothing seems to fulfill them or to make them happy. And then there's others in life that have much less, and that, I guess it's a value judgment, but you can look at them, their income status, the areas in which they live, and compare the two lifestyles, and you see that the one lifestyle seemingly has much more of the physical benefits in terms of housing, in terms of types of jobs, in terms of type of income, and yet their life is absolutely full, and they're just absolutely delighted to see the other people in their life. And the reality is they couldn't add any more to their life if they wanted to. They're just so full of the expression of joy, and they're thankful. They're thankful for everything and every person in their life and all the little things that are done for them each day by these various numbers of people that they know that are close and are friendly with them. And the people on the other side of the spectrum that seem to have more of the physical things, and I'm not saying this is true of everyone, I just say I've noticed this type of thing go on where a person seems to have more than enough, and yet they're so displeased with everything and displeased with everyone around them. And as time goes on, they seem to push people away from them and become less and less pleased with their lives and less pleased with the world. And it seems that nothing will ever satisfy them. And the difference between those two lives is that concept or that idea of gratitude or thankfulness that they have. We in our lives, if we wish to grow and if we wish to grow in the concept of love, then we have to be grateful for all of those near us that love us and that we love and care about. We have to truly be thankful for those individuals in our lives. And as that happens, there's more individuals that grow and come around us, because our nature becomes one of thankfulness for love. And when you're thankful for love, you have more to give, because you understand its importance. And it goes on with anything that we have at all in life. Harmony, happiness, the peaceful moments, thankful for the teachers that we have, the friends. The more that we're grateful for that, the more full our life is. and the more fulfilled we are as human beings. And as we become more full and more fulfilled, we're able to share more and to give more to our fellow man. The scripture lessons are really interesting today, and I know that it's always, these types of scriptures are always looked to as scriptures concerning abundance, how there's always enough and to spare for your every need, and that's true, it's there, if we look for it and we see it. But one of the important things for me in Scripture and looking at it is the idea that he gave thanks. It says he gave thanks, and he blessed, and he broke the bread. He gave thanks, and then out of that thanks, and it truly must have been a great expression of thanksgiving, out of that poured forth this tremendous abundance. So from thanksgiving, from gratitude, we do have this abundance. But note what he did with the abundance. He immediately shared it. None of it was stored up. None of it was put away. And when he was done, he had way more than what he started with. But there was an immediate sharing of the abundance that takes place as a result of that expression of gratitude. Because I think Jesus understood that the power was in gratitude, not in abundance. The power was in this ability to be thankful to the extent that it brought forth more. So abundance in itself is really nothing. It's an effect. It's an afterthought, if you wish. And the problem with that is in our generation, and certainly in the history of mankind, it's not an afterthought. It's the thought. How do we accumulate? How do we have more? And the true answer has to do with gratitude. It isn't how we get more abundant. It's how do we have more gratitude? How do we look at our lives and find the way to be more grateful for the things that we have, the things that are in front of us? How do we find that expression? And it's there. It's there. And as we're more grateful for that, more and more doors are opened up to us. And there is a greater amount for us to be grateful for. And I know Ken and David here, it's a while ago now, probably a year and a half or 2 years ago, that they spoke about going to, on one of their trips, and they met this group of people there, that the way that the expression of abundance was with how much you could share with others. Not how much you had in the bank, but how much you could share with your fellow man. That showed how rich you were. And it's the same with each of us. As we're thankful and we have more and we share more, it does show who and what we are as individuals and as people. So for this Thanksgiving, and I know it's always an emphasis at Thanksgiving, but consider the potential and the growth involved with being grateful and with moving forward in your life. And so, my thought or my idea is for this day is to just spend more time meditating and thinking about the power of gratitude and how to develop it within your life. Because there's numerous moments each day, morning, noon, and night, for us to take a moment and have that expression and have it in front of us.